Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's South China Morning Post. I'm Nick Atkin, your host of the Post Fight Podcast. It is January 4th, I think, 2021. We made it through 2020. This is the first Post Fight Podcast, I think. Oh, no, we already did one, didn't we, guys? Rising. We did a Rising recap on January 1st. Don't listen to me, I'm talking rubbish. Anyway, my guests today are none other than JHK and Chris EB MMA. The boys, they're not my guests, they're my co-hosts. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
An absolute pleasure to be back, Nick. Happy New Year to everyone out there. I've been missing for a while, but back again, as they say.
Yeah, we haven't had Chris on, have we, John, for a long time. We were trying to calculate how many days Chris has been missing in action.
How long have you been missing?
The last one I did was the One Championship live show, I guess, just the week before Christmas. So 18th of December, 2 weeks and 3 days.
That's too long without
such a big personality. You kind of just miss me.
Yes, the quality of the show has dipped without you, Chris. We're glad to have you back. It's a huge show, you know. Obviously, the main talking point is New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom. We're going to recap it. No, I'm just kidding, guys. We're going to talk about Dan Hooker and Michael Chandler. They're going to be booked. It looks like it's UFC 257 co-main event, if I'm not mistaken. We've got the Mike Perry video, a little weird, that video, disturbing stuff. We're going to do a little preview of the Asian MMA in 2021. Where do you want to start, John? Should we start with this Chandler Hooker? We knew this was in the works, didn't we? It's finally been officially confirmed, I do believe. ESPN and UFC have all confirmed it. So it's a huge matchup, isn't it?
Definitely a huge matchup. Once ESPN confirms, then you know it's a real deal, right? You know it's the real deal because ESPN is basically the UFC, right? They have they're married. They're like a married couple, and you know whatever one does, the other one knows also. So they just go along and yeah, this matchup, man. It's what's interesting about this matchup is that Chandler was going to be the backup, right? And it's weird in the UFC how Chandler, a fighter, can be a backup for the title fight, but then not be the next title challenger once that fight is over, which is very confusing to me. But it's a great opportunity for Dan Hooker, to be honest with you, right? He's coming off that fight of the year candidate against Dustin Poirier, and he goes right into a fight against Michael Chandler. And I'm thinking that this is a title eliminator now. I'm thinking like whoever wins this fight is going to get the next shot at the title, against I guess against like whoever wins, versus Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. I'm thinking that the UFC, it doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't really, to be honest with you. This is like a mini tournament without actually saying it's a mini tournament. Do you think it is, Chris? Do you think that this is kind of like a tournament that it's not official?
Is this a tournament, mate? We're already in the tournament. This is match number 2 and number 3 of the tournament. We've had match number 1 of the quarterfinals when we had Du Bronx against Tony Ferguson. On the same night at UFC 257, we're going to have quarterfinal number 2 and quarterfinal number 3. We're going to have Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, and we are going to have Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler in the informal lightweight Grand Prix, I guess we can call it. These are pretty much quarterfinal matchups, and pretty much the other quarterfinalist is whoever Gaethje fights, or he might just be getting a bye. Who knows? But we know it's going to be one of these guys who's going to win of these 3 or 4 fights, who's going to go on. And we all know Conor McGregor, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje in this division, even with Khabib maybe being retired, not being retired, no one is going to win 3 fights in a row without getting a strap on them, because it's that competitive. You have to do it, especially if Conor's not fighting 3 fights and not getting a belt. He's the biggest star in the sport. This is huge news. I mean, this should have everyone salivating. I mean, 1, I've always been a big fan of stack cards. 2, the best thing you can ever get on a card is when you get 3 or 4 people fighting from the same division, a few matchups, because it really clears up the whole thing, especially going into the new year with the possibility of Khabib. Once we get these 2 fights out of the way, we know who the winners are, we know how the losers are, and we can really, really plan what we're going to do for the rest of the year in this division. I'm so excited for it, and I actually think that this is the more intriguing matchup, actually, than the McGregor-Poirier fight for me.
I completely agree. Go
Do
ahead.
you think Chandler needs, Gaethje needs to fight someone as an informal quarterfinal? And if he did, who would you match him up with? Is there anyone you can match him up with?
He does need to fight someone. He's coming off a loss, an embarrassing loss, to be honest with you, right? A lot of people expected a much more competitive fight versus Khabib, and he was completely mauled. Like, I guess we should have expected that, right? We were falling in love with this narrative that Justin Gaethje had this special skill set that's going to go in there and be able to give problems to Khabib, and really there was no problems. Khabib had a broken foot, and he did that to him. And I just don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even see Gaethje as a front runner. I feel like Chandler's a front runner. I feel like Hooker, even though he's coming off the loss against Poirier, he's actually a little bit ahead of Gaethje in my eyes, and then Connor, and then Dustin. I don't know. It's hard to say who Gaethje fights, but I think he has to fight Oliveira now. That's the only matchup that you can put him in. Who else is up there? You know what I mean? Who else is there? There's a lot of great fighters in the light heavyweight division.
What about
Islam
Makhachev?
Come on, man.
You know who I would love to see Gaethje fight? RDA. RDA, I think, would be a great fight for Gaethje. Because RDA is just outside. He never really goes on a big skid. I guess Gaethje kind of being the number one contender informally. I guess technically, if we are doing these quarterfinals, RDA, I think, is just about ranked number 7 or number 8. If you're the top seed, usually you get the lowest seed, which would be RDA. I think it's a great test for both of them. You've got a former champ versus a former interim champ. I think it's a great way to set it up. I think after Oliveira, what he did against Tony Ferguson, I'd rather see him go on to fight one of the winners of these two fights. Personally, for me, I'd really like to see Oliveira go against probably the winner of Hooker and Poirier.
I feel he's already qualified for the semi-finals, whatever. So I don't think he should fight another time, another quarterfinal, so to speak. So yeah, I agree with you. I like the idea of that RDA. John, you got any problem with that?
Semi-final. So let me get this straight, because I'm an idiot. So you already have Oliveira in the semifinals. So McGregor and Poirier is fighting for a spot in the semifinals. Hooker and Chandler's fighting for a spot in the semifinals. And who's the other fight? Is it RDA versus Gaethje?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good to me, man. I love that. I actually love that idea. And who do you put on which side? Like, what side do you put Oliveira on? Do you put him on the side of the winner of Gaethje and what is it, RDA? I think that would probably be the best, right? And you put on the other side the guys that were fighting at 257, because they're fighting on the same night, so why not put them against each other, right? So just let's get it in, right?
I'd rather put Connor with Gaethje, because he's never fought Gaethje. I think it'd be an absolutely great fight. I don't think Gaethje's fought someone who hits that hard. And if you have the possibility of Connor RDA, I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
But the thing is, Connor has never fought Hooker, Chandler, either. So even if he beats what is it, Poirier, he would have to go fight one of those guys, because he would have to go fight Hooker. And I feel like Hooker could give him, like Connor, a lot of problems. You know what I mean? Like the size, the reach, and he has the power. And Chandler, he'll give problems to Connor too. You know what I mean? Connor is Connor. We know what he can bring to the table, and we know that left hand is death. So if he touches you with it, anybody in that division, they're going to go out, right? It's just him being able to hit you in the right spot and get that precision and that speed and that timing. But other than that, man, this is probably the most exciting the lightweight division has been in a little while. For a while I was thinking, like, man, Khabib is the champ. I'm very interested to see how long he can stay champion in this stacked division. And he kind of took that away from us, you know what I mean? And I understand his family situation and everything, but that he kind of took that excitement away of how long can he stay at the top and keep that undefeated record at lightweight. And it looks like he's not going to do that. It looks like he's going to be retired, and all this other talk about he's going to come back, and Dana wants to talk to Khabib. Yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just said it there. Dana White is going to meet with Khabib in Abu Dhabi on Fight Island, it looks like, in the next couple of weeks. He's going to try and talk him out of retirement. Chris, do you think he's going to do it? And if he does, who's he going to fight? Is it GSP? And how does that get done?
I don't know if it gets done. I'm not sure if I want to see the GSP fight anymore. GSP's been so inactive. He's barely fought in pretty much the last decade. I love Khabib. I think he's a great fighter. I think he could have gone down as one of the all-time greats, but the problem is, right, he beat a small snapshot of MMA fighters. When you look at the people we call the GOATs, the Anderson Silvers, the GSPs, it's not even they beat a snapshot of fighters, they beat a generation. Even Anderson Silva, GSP, you can argue that they kind of beat two generations, particularly GSP coming back and beating Bisping. Their victory types over a very, very long amount of time. Khabib, he defended the belt 3 times, was it, maximum? Super inactive towards the later end of his career. I just think everything he's been through, and with all the trash he talked to Conor McGregor about him not really fighting and want him to fight more, and the fact is he's barely fought himself. I'd love to see him fight GSP, but I don't know how good modern GSP is because the game has moved on. It would be an interesting matchup. I'm just not sure if we do see Khabib. It's one of them, isn't it? Every month, every week, it goes longer and longer without an announcement. The less and less likely it will happen.
Well, GSP's looking shredded, though, isn't he, guys? We saw his Instagram posts.
You know, everybody's talking about, okay, Dana's gonna go talk to Khabib and talk him into fighting again, right? And you gotta look at it. Khabib is a guy. I don't feel like he's fighting for money. I feel like he's rich, and he's richer than he ever thought he would be, and his life is turning to another direction. It almost seems like, to where he's on the side of where he wants to help people rather than just benefit himself, and kind of carry on with the legacy of his father and train fighters and bring them up and take care of them and give them the opportunities and do other stuff in the world that benefits, you know, the less fortunate or whatever. I feel like money is not the issue. And if Dana is going to go in there and talk about, we're going to give you this much money to fight, I feel like that's not going to work for Khabib. And also, GSP is the only fight, to be honest with you. If you're going to bring him back, that's one last fight, the mega fight, get him to 30-0. But I feel like GSP, if he doesn't enter the fight with some kind of advantage or some kind of you got to think GSP is one of the smartest guys to ever fight, to ever enter the octagon. And he's not going to take this fight at a disadvantage, right? And I feel like everything has to line up perfectly, and I don't feel like it's going to line up perfectly. And we're just going to have to move on. We're just going to move on and not even think about that fight anymore. And if Khabib comes out after that meeting and says he's retired, let Khabib go and become retired, man. Like, we don't need to keep trying to push him back into fighting guys. I feel like the lightweight division, it's great without him. Look at what we're talking about. Conor, Justin, Tony, let's bring up the rankings, right? We're not even talking about Tony Ferguson. We're not even talking about Beneil Dariush. We're not even talking about Diego Ferreira. There's so many guys. Islam Makhachev. There's so many guys coming up, right? That even the guys that we're not talking about, they could probably be champs for any other promotion in the world if they went and fought in those promotions, right? So we don't really need Khabib. You know what I mean? A lot of people are going to hate that, but that's true. We don't need him in the lightweight division. We can move on. And I feel like it's so competitive that this belt is going to go change hands like every 6 months if there's fights for the title. It feels like this. It's going to be crazy, man. Like, and having Conor there, I know Conor's only had like 2 fights, and someone pointed that out in the chat, but it's Conor, dude. Like, let's be realistic. Conor brings eyes. There you go. So you got Gaethje at 1, Poirier at 2, Oliveira, Conor at 4, Ferguson at 5, Hooker at 6, those RDA at 7, Paul Felder's there, Ferreira's there, Quinta is there, Lee, Dariush, Makhachev. Man, look at that. That's
Well, Islam's going to fight Drew Dober, isn't he, next?
Yeah, they're fighting each other next, right? So, man, it's a crazy division. No matter what they do right now, no matter who becomes champion in the next 6 months, it's gonna be hot potatoes, man. It's gonna be exchanging hands, and it's gonna be crazy. And I don't know if $100 million. Do you think the UFC would give a fighter $100 million?
I very much doubt it.
Yeah, that's
No.
I don't think they're doing
But
that.
what I'm saying is, Khabib is clearly willing to entertain these talks, at least in some part. That's why he's going to do them. So there must be a small percentage of a chance he's going to come back. If it's not GSP, who is it? Is he going to wait? He says, yeah, as Arman says here in the comments, he's alluding to they want to do Conor, but Khabib's going to demand ridiculous money to do that rematch, and he has the power, doesn't he? Who realistically, Chris, do you think Khabib should fight? If it's not Conor, or if Conor or Dustin, whoever wins that fight, does he wait to see how the rest of these matchups play out in the division, or is there another mystery opponent? Is he going to go up and challenge? I don't know.
I think the one that can cause them the most problems is probably Bronx, Charles Oliveira. Everyone went on for years and years about how much trouble Tony Ferguson caused him, and Charles Oliveira out Tony Ferguson. And that's the great thing about it. And that's it. You just got these people who are evolving every day, and it is a young man's game, this sport. Yeah, you can leave Khabib retired. Thing is, I love Khabib, but we just have not seen him clear out the division. I mean, for about 5 years, the best three lightweights in the world, everyone knew, was Khabib, Tony, and Conor, and he only fought one of them. And sometimes you have to fight everyone to really put yourself down as the best. I just don't know if we see him come back. I'd love to see him just fight anyone. I'd love to see the hype around it. I'd love to see Conor get a few wins and actually be active, fight 2 or 3 times in a year, and someone else and Khabib get a few fights in, and then I'd like to see them both fight each other fresh. But I don't see GSP, maybe a Charles Oliveira personally, but I don't think we really see Khabib coming back.
Man, it's so funny that that people are considering Khabib the greatest lightweight, and he's up there, right? He's 29-0. He's done well. He's had dominant fights, right? He's beat the best guys, but he still has so many guys to beat, man. Like, look, we're talking about a mini tournament right now. Khabib has beaten who in that tournament? Poirier, Gaethje, Conor, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. The rest of the guys, he hasn't beat them, right? He has, like you mentioned earlier, he hasn't cleared out that division, right? I wish if, as a fan, as someone that watches this and says, man, for entertainment wise, I wish he would stay and just clear out the division, even though it would be dominant, but I would want to just be able to see that as a fan, you know what I mean? To watch that, like when Anderson Silva was cleaning out the division, you knew that he was going in there with a huge advantage over a lot of the guys, but it was just phenomenal to watch. It was just magic, right? And I think we haven't seen that magic from Khabib. I wish he would stay, for that reason only, just to see him take out Chandler, take out Hooker, take out DuBronx, and then this narrative that DuBronx is a very difficult matchup for Khabib. I don't believe it, because we've done it to everybody. Oh, Ferguson's a difficult matchup. Gaethje's a difficult matchup. And then now we're talking about Oliveira being a difficult matchup. I don't see it, man. Like, I don't see it until I don't believe it until I see it, right? And
I just think
saw what happened.
For years, everyone said Tony, and I think the closest thing we've got to a prime Tony is no longer Tony Ferguson. The closest thing we've got to a prime Tony is the Bronx. That's the closest thing we've got to a prime. I'm sorry, I don't think Tony's going to be back there anytime soon. I agree with what you said about Anderson Silva. Is you literally run through Anderson Silva's, who he's beaten, who he's fought, even who he's lost to. Even the people Anderson Silva's lost to, he's probably got more GOATs on his resume, more people who are Hall of Famers than Khabib does. Khabib has really 3 top guys on his resume, and that's his last 3 fights. McGregor, Poirier, and Gaethje. You can probably throw RDA on that. And then apart from that, if you say who's really, really good, apart from that, would you say what? Edson Barbosa? I mean, he won the lightweight title of Alaya Quinta. I mean, when you look at it and you look at some of the people who fought for lightweight titles, Frankie Edgar, Nate Diaz, Benson Henderson back in the day, BJ Penn, some of these guys are absolutely phenomenal. And no disrespect to Alaya Quinta, but there is just levels to this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of matchups that Khabib has left, and I cannot believe people will say that he has no challenges in the lightweight division. That's just boggles my mind that people would say that, because I believe that he has a lot of challenges. And when you look at Anderson Silva's run, you look at GSP's run, and you look at John Jones's run, right? Those are the main, like the biggest run. And you look at Demetrius Johnson's run, right? Those are the 4 guys that had the most phenomenal runs. in the UFC, and you compare that to Khabib's run, not even close, dude. Like, come on, let's be real. Not even close. His run hasn't been even close to what those guys have done at the championship level. At the championship level, right? Who, like you said, he beat Iaquinta for the title. He defended it against who?
Connor.
He defended it against Gaethje and Poirier, right?
Yeah.
That's 3 title defenses. He needs more. He needs more, man. Like,
I mean, when you look at someone like GSP for John Fitch, BJ Penn, Dan Hardy, Sean Sheck,
Jake Shields,
Josh Koscheck as well, Nick Diaz, Johnny Hendricks, like they are real Hall of Famers, real greats. And you know, that's all I'm saying is that there is levels to this game, and you know, he's beating the best fighters in a 3-year period. GSP Anderson Silva were the best in their weight division for a generation. If someone comes and takes the lightweight belt and holds on to it for 5 years, even GSP's Khabib's record will not really be of comparison, because to me, records are for DJs. It's all about getting that belt and holding on to it and being the pinnacle of your sport. I mean, anyone out there who's an NFL fan, you know, if you have the best regular season record for 10 years, but you don't win a Super Bowl, who really cares? But if you go and win 4 Super Bowls in 8-9 years over a long period of time and show you're consistently getting to playoffs, consistently winning championships, that's what is a leg. To me, that's the most important part of a legacy.
All right, now let's get the early predictions on this Hooker versus Michael Chandler fight, because I think
I know
what a lot of people want. And let's start with Nick, because you know Nick, man, we don't ask him enough. Let's start with
He
Nick.
always sits on the fence. He waits for us.
Exactly.
I'm just hiding in the top right, minding my own business here. I don't want to be front and center, guys. All right, I'll give you a prediction. I'm gonna go for Dan Hooker. I think I will go for a TKO. Yeah, 3rd round TKO. I'm putting it all on the line, guys. Not to disrespect Michael Chandler. I just think Dan Hooker's extremely underrated, and he's going to be extremely motivated in this fight. And I think people are sleeping on him a little bit. And I think he was winning that fight against Dustin Poirier through the first 2 rounds, and Dustin came back and fought well, but it was no slight on Dan. Does anyone differ with me, Chris? What's your prediction?
And my only issue would be it might be a bit hard for Dan Hooker. His last 2 fights have been absolute 5-round wars back to back. Everything I've heard, I would assume it's not a main event, so this most likely going to be 3 rounds, I would assume. I actually think Chandler has been pretty much fighting 5 rounds for about his last 8 out of his last 10 fights in Bellator. I think actually adjusting to the pacing of a 3-round fight might be difficult for him. I actually think 3 rounds probably favors Hooker a little bit more. I think Hooker, actually, if he doesn't go for the TKO, like Nick said, I think actually he's the better point fighter. If you look at the Poirier fight, he did win the first 2 rounds. He will start off fast. And I think, I think he's going to win it on points. Whether it's 2-1, 30-28 or 29-28, sorry, or all 3 rounds to Mr. Hooker. I just don't really see any way that Chandler's going to win it. And I think it will just be a really big throw into the deep end. I think it will be very competitive, very close, and very good. But Hooker just has that really good point fighting style. He'll throw kicks, he'll bash away the legs, he'll strike non-stop, city kickboxing. They've got a really good mentality, and I think the 3 round will just favor him.
Can I change my prediction to just exactly what Chris just said? I'm gonna go for Hooker on points decision. John, sorry, what about you?
There's a lot of variables in this with Hooker. Hooker's tall, he's very long reach, long legs, you know, and Wudupe, he was talking. Yeah, there you go. Wudupe, he says he has 2 TKOs with knees to Miller and Pearson, and when you look at the height advantage, and then the way he throws those knees, and what Dan's gonna probably do, and this is what I'm predicting, is he's gonna go full blast in round 1 against Chandler, because Chandler might try to, you know, it's his first fight in the UFC, so he might have a little bit of, you know, nervousness. You don't know for sure, right? But he might have it, and I think Dan's going to test that chin early, and he's going to go full throttle and march forward and see what he has. Because that's the type of fighter Dan is. Dan's the one that's going to test your grit. And I think because it's 3 rounds, he's going to go hard in the first. And if he can't get the finish in the first round, I feel like second and third round, he's going to switch gears. I feel the 2 fights that he had this last year against Felder and Poirier, he learned a lot from those fights, and there were 5-round fights, and it's completely different. So I feel like if he doesn't get him out in the first round, I see him switching gears in the second and third and playing the points game against Chandler and getting the win. Nothing against Chandler. Chandler is a beast. He has knockout power, and he has some of the best coaching in the world. And I feel like Chandler will eventually become the UFC champion. I just don't think he'll win his debut. That's just how I feel about the situation.
Whoa. So Chandler's going to take the long route around, do you think, John, for the title?
Just like Eddie Alvarez. Think of what happened to Eddie Alvarez when he came into the UFC. Who did he fight? I don't even remember, but I know he lost his debut. And then he switched gears, came back strong, and what happened? He won the UFC title.
John, you're forgetting that Michael Chandler's not here for a long time. He's here for a good time. Have I got that right?
Come on, man. It's just like everybody's trying to be Carter. Everybody's trying to be Carter, with his like sayings, you know what I mean? Like I like it. I like that he says that because that's his motto, and people are gonna remember that. But to be honest with you, he's a much smarter fighter than that, man. He's not, he's not a guy that's just gonna go out there and just go full blast every single fight. Look at Gaethje. He said that at the beginning too. And what happened to him? He switched gears and he won the title.
Can I say one thing really quickly? And this is the one issue I would have is you look at someone like Ben Askren. When he came in, he fought Robbie Lawler, who was ranked 11th. Then he fought Masvidal, who I think at that time was ranked 5th. And then he went back to Damian Maia, who I think was ranked 7th or 8th. And I mean, look, it might have been easier if Chandler would have probably gone in and fought a Kevin Lee or an Al Iaquinta first to get yourself warmed up. And then you move on to maybe a Felder, an RDA, or a Hooker. And then you go top 5 and then for the belt. To me, that's a more natural progression. I do get it now, probably coming in. Bellator's exploded a little bit over the last 2 years in particular, and has closed the gap with the UFC, in my opinion. But I think that would have been a better progression. Dan Hooker's a really, really tough fight. And because, I don't know how to say this, I'm not being offensive in any way to Dan Hooker. He's not like a full mixed martial artist. He's got all the skills of a mixed martial artist, but his base is very, very prominent. I think anyone who watches UFC, if you never saw Dan Hooker fight or knew nothing about him, just watching a round of him, you know it's his kickboxing. When you have someone who's so strong in one thing, that can be really, really tough. Particularly, I can't really think of anyone that Michael Chandler has ever fought who is such a good kickboxer as a Dan Hooker. I'm really trying to think, but there's a lot of good wrestlers he's fought, a lot of good boxers, but not someone really from my Muay Thai kickboxing background of the same level as Hooker that I can think of.
Yeah, and you know what's a perfect example of him using his distance and using his striking to his advantage and kind of getting the win and toughen out? Watch the Quinta fight. Watch that fight. It shows you that he can switch gears and play the smart game and get the win. You know what I mean? When he really needs it, the way, not going for the finish, but just being able to beat up the dude on the feet and keep him at distance. And they kind of have a similar stature, you know what I mean? Quinta and Chandler. So we'll see, man. Chandler's a beast though. We can't count him out, but we're making picks because that's what we think. And if you watch this show, you guys know me. It's just all gut feeling. That's it. It's guts. Like guts picks. That's all it is for me. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm dissecting everything and analyzing everything. It's just gut picks. I'm just telling you what's coming from my gut. But yeah, Chandler has beaten some of the best guys outside of the promotion and his fights. Just go back and watch his fights, all his fights with Eddie Alvarez. They're crazy fights, right? And this is when he was younger. Maybe another factor is like people say about damage too. Dan did have those 2 5-round wars last year. Could that be an issue going into this fight? And also Chandler, he's had a lot of wars in his years at Bellator. Could that be an issue going into this fight? We don't know. We just know that these guys are the two best in the world at lightweight, and we're going to see a spectacular fight. And if it goes to the judges, I think we'll have an early candidate of fight of the year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, is it a shame if it is 3 rounds? We're presuming it's 3, right? So I think would this have been better being a main event on a fight night, guys?
No. I think they deserve the 3-round pay-per-view slot.
Can I also say one thing to respond to Armin Younes in the comments? I do get it that Michael is one of the best wrestlers from seeing the light division, but if there is one camp in the whole world right now where we would want to learn takedown defense, it is City Kickboxing. They have perfected takedown defense. Probably until then, it was probably a Winklejohn for me. Great takedown defense, but I actually think City Kickboxing have took it to another level. The takedown defense. If you look at all of them, Kai Kara France, Dan Hooker, Israel Adesanya is probably the best stand-up guy with a takedown defense that we've ever seen in the sport. So maybe Anderson Silva as well. But yeah, it's that close. And yeah, I really think Dan Hooker, no one should really sleep on him. And I think if he comes out as an underdog, not that I'm a betting man, but bet the house on him.
You're a betting man, Chris. Yeah. I know you.
Bet the Barbie doll house, not the actual house. Yeah.
Well, unless you guys have anything else to say on that matter, maybe we move to our next topic, which is the Mike Perry video, which dropped on, I don't know, what did he put it on, guys? Instagram?
Yeah.
Slightly disturbing, wasn't it? I don't want to go in too hard, but we'll bring it up on here. Basically, Mike Perry put a video of his leg lying in a pool of blood. I don't know if it was at his home. It seems like a hallway. You can see the picture there.
Yeah.
And then he also put up a picture of a broken window pane and the video. Kind of, you put 2 and 2 together. Maybe we can listen into the video in a minute. I'll have to reload the audio. But John's like, you don't want to hear the audio?
No, we haven't. He doesn't really say anything. I watched this video already.
Yeah.
He doesn't really say much. He just says, "Oh God," like I don't.
Let's play it for the hell of it. Anyway, I'll bring it up. But you guys, John, just talk us through. It's a bit disturbing, isn't it? Mike Perry's had a lot of trouble this year. Last year, he had the incident in the bar, didn't he? Attacking someone there, and then his ex-girlfriend came out and said she called 911, alleged domestic abuse and all that. It's another worrying chapter in the career and the life of Mike Perry.
It is worrying. I'm not too worried, but like it is worrying that he's posting it, to be honest with you. Like, why you cut your leg open. The cut looks like it's deep, and it looks like it's probably like 6 inches or so, or 5 inches, and you have time to get your phone out and videotape it, or that's the old in me, right? Videotape. No, record it on your phone and then post it on social media. Like, why would you even do that? What's the purpose of that? What's the reasoning behind that? That's the questions I have. Like, of course the question is, why would you kick the glass door with your foot? Most likely the glass door was talking to him or something and he got angry. I don't know what happened exactly, but it looked like something was really bothering him and he did it. But I think he just wants attention. You know what I mean? Like, I think he just wants people to follow him. I think he just wants people to watch him. I don't know. It's weird because he always posts stuff about, like, to fans saying, like, don't bother me. Don't ask me for an autograph. Don't ask me for a picture. But then he posts this stuff online for his fans. So it's confusing.
I'll show those tweets as well. We had that. I put this story together. Oh no, sorry, my colleague Andrew did. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your shine, Andrew. And yeah, we included the tweets as well. I think we can just read them out. As you said, he started going on a little bit of a tirade. But before that, this tweet was accompanying, well, not accompanying, it was on the same day as the video he just posted saying, no matter what I do, it's never enough. So I act out, happy to spill my own blood. But there were other tweets, as you said, where he was attacking fans who come up to him in the street. He said, I don't care. The fans suck. People suck. They crowd your space. They talk trash behind your back. They offer nothing but a waste of time. I like to be left alone with my little family, and that's all I want. I'm just tweeting these to tell you all to mind your manners. Fans don't pay us. The company endorsements do. The money is already on contract. My real fans know what I'm talking about, and they watch out of love. The rest of y'all just salty. Yeah. Chris, how do you just dissect those messages?
Yeah, I just feel very sorry for Mike Perry. I do follow him on Instagram. He was out on a boat with his girlfriend, Lattori, aka Coach Lattori. And they were out on a boat enjoying a good time. I don't know if it's alcohol related. I don't know if it's drug related. I don't know if it's violence related. It kind of looked a little bit like a hotel to me, the corridor, like he's come through the car park, maybe. I don't really know what's happened. I wish him a speedy recovery. The worst thing is it's a very deep cut. You hope he hasn't got nerve damage. You know, you think if he would have done it somewhere else, he could have really done bad damage to his ankle, to his Achilles. Damaging yourself in any way like that is not good. If anyone out there is going through a similar thing, probably best to look to get some help. And I have actually a lot of sympathy for Mike Perry, and I think a lot of people are really, really taking this time to jump on him when maybe it's the UFC or, well, I guess they're not his employers because he's an independent contractor, but someone in his management agency right now or someone in his gym or a training partner or a close friend or a family member, it should be really a time to check on him and put an arm around him and just make sure everything's okay because, you know, he's living his dream. He's being a professional fighter. He's getting to do what he wants to do. He's making decent money. I don't know if when he was 18, he ever thought he'd be making this kind of money that he's making, all these bonuses. And, the thing with Mike Perry is actually, as a fighter, he's growing on me. He looks more and more complete as a fighter. He's getting better with age, actually. I actually think he could, there's people out there he should be looking to train with. I actually think someone like him and Kevin Lee would be really, really good because I think they'd be like bad cop, good cop, yin and yang. I think they'd rub off on each other. I just actually hope he can sort his life out because I do think he has a lot to give. I think he has a lot of technique. I think if I was him, all someone really needs to do is go on Fight Pass or something and show him Year of the Fighter, the Jorge Masvidal episode, and look how he's turned it around and how he realized, oh, I only really have one shot at this fighting business and I can turn it around. And maybe Mike Perry doesn't have the same skill set, but I actually think he can get very, very close to Masvidal. And I wish him all the best.
Yeah, I don't want to pile on to Mike. Yeah, do you think, John, though, that maybe the UFC should have intervened a little bit earlier? They did seem to put him on some kind of anger management course or something after that last incident in the bar. Was it enough, though? You know, Dana said he was asked questions about Mike Perry after those phone calls came out, the police recordings, and he kind of brushed it all off, and he said, well, I like Mike Perry, he's fun to watch. I think that was the quote. Should the UFC maybe do something more about this? What can they do?
There's nothing they can do, really. Like Mike Perry, he first has to realize that he needs help, I guess, and then he's able to get help. You know what I mean? If someone offers it to him. But he seems, from the outside looking, he seems like he has the attitude of like everybody's against him, right? And the fans are against him, and I guarantee you he gets a lot of hate online, social media. Guys that are nice guys in the industry that are fighters, they get hate. So imagine how much hate Mike Perry gets, and maybe that affects him, and maybe that makes him lash out. Who knows what this stems from? We don't know for sure. But one thing's for sure is like he's looking for attention because he's posting it all. So I hope someone can go and help him because I can't, you know what I mean? Like us talking about it, it's not going to help him. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll click on this and say like, what are these guys saying about me? And then he'll listen to us and say, oh, maybe I do need help. I don't know. Hopefully he does. Maybe he does. Mike, I hope you do get help if you need help, you know what I mean? Or maybe it's just, your attitude. You just need to change it. Your mentality, you need to change it. But fight wise, I don't think it's about fighting right now. I don't think it's about that. I think it's about his life and what's going on in his life. And maybe some things that are going on with him and his family, with him mentally inside his head. we just don't know about, and he's lashing out, and that's what we're seeing. So we will not figure it out, but it doesn't seem like it's going down a good road. You know, it doesn't seem like he's going down the road where it ends at some beautiful carnival and he's eating, you know, cotton candy and riding roller coasters. It doesn't seem like that. He seems like he's going down this bad road, and hopefully
Yeah.
nothing bad happens to somebody around him because of it. But
also, when you have ESPN and Disney in the picture, when do they step in? How long before they make UFC do something about a guy like Mike Perry? Is that the game you play, Chris? When you get into bed with Disney, you've got to you
Yeah,
can't
100%.
whatever you
And
want.
talking of Disney and ESPN, I mean, you can compare it to the Premier League in the 90s when they set up some rehabilitation programs. You can compare it to the WWE in the 2000s. I mean, the WWE did launch a pretty successful wellness program. I don't know, does the UFC have a big wellness program? I don't know if they do. I've never really heard much about it. I don't know if they have any counselors. It's very, very hard because you're an independent contractor. That's the issue. But I don't know if any of the I don't know if even at the performance institutes. But you know, it would be good to see if some of them were, particularly in America, where you have to pay for a lot of your medical insurance. It'd be nice to see if they are insured for counselling and stuff like this. And as well, we all do have to say one thing that I always say is we should never really judge people who take brain damage for our enjoyment of the decisions they make in life. Because you know, if you've had serious brain damage, what seems irrational to us can seem rational to them. And if we take pleasure out of them getting brain damage, which is in effect what we do when we watch combat sports, we should be able to give them a little bit of sympathy because they are, in a way, giving up their own health, their mental health, their physical health, their futures, even their family and their children's potential mental health in order to entertain us. So, yeah, I just really wish him the best, and I would like to see the UFC really maybe take this as an opportunity to do a wellness program or offer more counseling or regular mental health checks, because I know they do health checks on the fighters. Be interesting to see if they get mental health checks to make sure everything's okay. That can be one good thing with working with Disney and ESPN, is hopefully they can push a little bit of that agenda on the UFC.
Well, Daniel Edward
think,
makes a point there. I'm sorry to use John. Sorry, yeah, just DDP is Diamond Dallas Page, former wrestler, and he has helped a lot of former wrestlers who have had issues with drugs and drinking and adjusting to life after wrestling when they retired. And is there anyone like that in MMA? Is there any kind of help out there for fighters who need it?
No, not really, man. I mean, as someone who really enjoyed MMA in the early 2000s and Pride, I mean, you know, there's a whole wash of fighters from that era who are big names who have very little to their names now and are not living a great life. I mean, people like even a Chuck Liddell, who's been fairly successful, does not seem the happiest person. Don Fry's been through some rough spots, Tank Abbott, and the list really, really goes on and on, particularly when you look at some people who weren't as bigger names as them in the early days of the UFC.
John, sorry, go ahead.
No. I feel like with like ESPN and Disney, it's like they can't do nothing. They're not gonna do anything.
They got UFC 249 shut down. They did that.
I doubt that. You know, I mean, I feel like they're in cahoots with the UFC and everything that happens. You know, I mean, they probably knew exactly what was going to go on before it was happening, and the reason why ESPN signed a deal with the UFC, I think one of the main reasons why is because Dana White. I think that's the reason why. Dana White. If Dana White wasn't there, it'd be hard, man. Dana White, he pushes all the buttons, man. He cranks all the levers and stuff in that machine, and he knows what to do. And
to some point, yes, but I will interject there, and there is many a person behind the scenes who will say, particularly of the Zuffa era, that Lorenzo was actually probably more important to the organization than Dana. That is something. The only thing I will interject with there.
Pre-sale,
yeah, for sure, yeah.
Pre-sale, of
course.
course.
Lorenzo did do a lot, but I do think, you know, it is always this thing, you know, if Zuffa was still in charge of the UFC, if we did ever have, I hope it never happens, but if we ever did have a fighter commit suicide or a fighter die in the ring, Zuffa would probably not put as much pressure on as a Disney and ESPN can do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. But with Mike Perry, going back to him, man, if he needs help, man, he's gonna go get it. And I feel like he draws a lot of a negative attention, and he does it to himself. You know what I mean? And of course, the media is gonna report on it because that's what media does. And also, sports fans, they're the most toxic fans out there, right? You know, entertainment fans, anything, wrestling fans, very toxic. So if you go on Twitter, if you go online, you go on social media, there's so many people that, you know, are not healthy for the fighters and just messaging them constantly and sending them just terrible things. And I'm pretty sure that gets into the fighter's head. You know, I've heard it from certain fighters, man, getting death threats from people before they fight. And hopefully, you know, Mike Perry can just shut off his social media, to be honest with you. I think that would probably help. Shut off his social media. And fighters have done this before and kind of live their life not on social media, but just in their real life, you know, be present in what you're doing. Hopefully that happens, man. I feel like that would probably be the best thing.
Can I link this actually to the next topic? And it only made me think about this earlier when I was seeing everything going with Mike Perry. Do you think that's sometimes why one championship does the athletes retreat? Because outside of the fight week, it gives you a chance actually in your management and your people and your board members and whatnot to actually have a look at the fighters in a non-fight environment. You can really check out, do they like to party hard? Do they drink a lot? What are they doing? Because you know, I would assume Chatri at those fight retreats that he does, I assume he has a little bit of an eye on everyone, and he has a little bit of everyone checking up how much everyone's drinking. Like, you know, if anyone's going to the bar and taking a bottle of whiskey back to the room, I think he knows.
that's like some big
the
brother.
idea of yeah.
Yeah, it
Retreat
wouldn't.
sounds cool. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was just saying it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Well, look, you gave us a perfect segue there, Chris, to talk about these one championship fighter. So, you know, end of the year awards, the 2020 awards. I'll bring them up on screen here. They're on their Twitter. 1 second, guys. Bear with me. All right, here we go. What's first up? We have got Chatri's picks. We'll leave those. Don't want to get Chatri's picks. We'll do the general picks. We got the breakthrough fighter of the year for them was Alicia Rodriguez, who obviously, of course, stunned Stamp Fairtex, took her atomweight Muay Thai title. Stamp lost both her belts in 2020. It was not a good year for Stamp Fairtex, really, was it, guys? But yeah, can you think of anyone else, Chris, John, who maybe deserves this award more than Alicia Rodriguez?
Yeah, I think like Alicia Rodriguez before this fight, nobody know who she was. I didn't know who she was. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I mean? She debuted. I feel like she debuted in this championship fight for one championship and just put on a clinic, right? Just she's out of that Phuket Fight Club. You know, Leo, he's the coach out there for the Brazilians and a lot of the Thais too. And man, they have a stable is stacked with fighters over there. And I think she's just one of them, one of the shining stars, you know, coming up. And yeah, I it's hard to argue against what she's done. You know, I mean, winning a title in her debut and just dominating the fight. The only other fighter I would think that has a breakthrough fighter would be, to be honest with you, Tan Lee.
Yeah, I was about to say Tan Lee.
I feel like Tan Lee might be very close second runner up in breakthrough fighter of the year. The way that he's just come in and just violence, man. That's all I can say. But
no
Chris,
one
what do you think?
did they against Martin? And he proved us wrong. He proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, I really have to go between those two, but I think you just have to go to Alicia Rodriguez. What should they do against Stamp for such a almost unbeatable person at that time? I mean, obviously she had the loss to Janet Todd just before, but I think to get that.
What about Janet Todd?
She'd already fought before in one championship this year, so I don't know if that's the breakthrough. I mean, I don't know. I was going to say as well in this category, I know she obviously never won a title, but Ritu must be somewhere close there because she has gone from strength to strength in the
Yeah, but
organization.
Rita's just fighting cans, really. I think they're breaking the record a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't really deny Alicia Rodriguez went and did a number on Stamp Fairtex, the champ, and took the belt. I can get on board with this. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, in Muay Thai too, which Stamp
that's
Fairtex
big.
was the queen or the princess of Muay Thai, and Alicia Rodriguez went in there and just completely dominated the fight. I'm looking forward to seeing Alicia Rodriguez take on Wonder Girl Fairtex in 2021. I want to see that. Maybe
I can get on board with that too, John.
Yeah.
All right, what about? We'll move on up here. How about this one? Tan Lee did get this award, the knockout of the year against Martin Nguyen to win the one championship featherweight title. I think, yeah, you can't dispute that given the size of the moment, the stage it was on. One's big return. I know they'd already done a couple of shows before that, but this was their big comeback post-COVID. I think you can point to some better individual knockouts in different fights, some spectacular ones. We've been watching guys on our Fight Companions, but if you factor everything in, Chris, can you dispute that Tan Lee deserves this award, knockout of the year?
See, I'm trying to think. Was it Yu Wakamatsu? I think he had a really good first round knockout that really sticks out in the back of my head. There was a few.
Mengbo had
Mengbo had a pretty good one. There was John Lineker against Kevin Bellion.
The little giant who took out Alex Silva, South African dude. That was crazy.
Oh, that was absolutely fantastic. I can't even remember his name, unfortunately. Was it Bokang?
Yeah, JP Baez's mate. JP was telling us, he told John to watch out for him, and he did something pretty spectacular.
Bokang Mosonyane against Rene Catalan, yeah. 37 seconds.
Yeah. 30, yeah, it was very. That's what I'm saying. There were a bunch of more spectacular knockouts, but John, do you factor in things like this, the context of the fight, the moment, what it meant, the occasion, all of that? Is that something you bring into play in this award?
I always do. I always look at the level of talent, the level of competition. Like you said, the moment, the card, it's the biggest card of the year they were fighting on. And then he went in there and knocked out a knockout artist in the title fight to take his belt in one of the wildest exchanges that we've ever seen inside that one circle. How can you not give him knockout of the night? The only person that I give close to this would be John Lineker, because he took out Kevin Bellion, and I don't think Kevin Bellion has ever been knocked out, and he just starched him pretty badly. Had him just curled up along the fence after he punched him. It just shows you how hard John Lineker punches. But yeah, Tan Lee, I feel like Tan Lee, this was his year in one championship. Just off that one fight, it was just his year. It's just I don't know, man. He's coming into his own. All the stuff that he's gone through in his career so far with the UFC and fighting regionally in North America. He's come over to Asia and found his home, found his spot, his position over here. And I feel like he's going to be fighting for one championship for the next 5 years, 10 years, possibly. We're going to probably see a trilogy with him and Martin. And I could see Tan Lee fighting Christian Lee. I could see him going up to lightweight and fighting Eddie Alvarez. They're going to make some big fights for Tan Lee, man. And we're here for it, man. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. But yeah, KO of the year, Tan Lee easily.
All right, let's check the next award. That fight also got fight of the year. Lee Tan Nguyen. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I totally actually have to disagree with this one. This is the one where I really can't see at all how this was the fight of the year. Yeah, I totally disagree with it.
What was your fight of the year then?
It doesn't even make my top 3. Actually, I think we have to go back to the beginning of the year in Manila. Fire and Fury. We had Joshua Pacho, Alex Silva, and we had Peter Boyce, Edward Folliang. Both went to split decisions on that card. Fantastic fights. But for me, I'm going to do exactly the same as the UFC. It deserves to go to the women. Tiffany Teo, Song Jin Nan, I actually thought it went 5 rounds. I think it gave a little bit more to offer. Tiffany Teo in that fight went absolutely up in my expectations. I thought she pushed really hard. It was really close. I just edged it to the Panda. But actually, to me, if it's a 5-round fight and it goes 5 rounds and it's 5 high quality rounds of back and forward, I think it has to win over a 3-round knockout to me. That's personally, yeah. So I'd probably give it to one of those 3 fights, and I'm going to give it to the ladies.
John, what about you? You disagree, or you agree with Chris, or with this fight being fight of the year?
I agree that this is the fight of the year, but I'm completely I actually forgot about the Tiffany Teo fight. You know, that was a crazy fight, and I guess it's a toss up when you think about it. You know what I mean? Because that was a rematch, and Tiffany Teo went in there as a big underdog and kind of overreached our expectations of what she can do against was it Zhang Jinzong? Oh man, her name is just hard to say, but but yeah, like it was pretty insane fight. Yeah, you gotta tip your hat to both all 4 of these fighters. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one was just it's just the danger factor was just much more, prevalent in the Nguyen Lee fight for some reason. Not for some reason, for very apparent reasons. Both these guys just have sick power and crazy knockouts. So yeah, but if they gave it to Tiffany Teo and the champ, the Panda, I wouldn't be screaming and yelling and arguing about it though.
Well, I'm agreeing with. I'm going for Tan Nguyen Martin. Tan Lee Martin Nguyen. I think that was my fight of the year. But I agree with you. Yes,
I'll tell anyone. Watch back our live chat. Watch it back. We were all banging on about how that was the best fight on the card. Watch the 2 fights back tonight, guys, and you will be apologizing to me next time you see me, because I know 100% it is the Panda vs Tiffany Teo. It's a fantastic. There was blood everywhere. I loved it. Blood on the side of the cage. You gotta love it.
I think this one for me though, just because it had that exciting finish, it had that huge changing of the guard, so to speak. You know, we had a new champion. Tan Lee's big moment, his final arrival, sets up some future storylines. The Martin's redemption, Martin's revenge. Maybe I'm adding too much context, but I think this fight as a moment had more resonance long term. Panda Tiffany, that was kind of done, and that's already the second time they fought. There's no future consequences there. They will probably not fight again. Anyway, I think is that it? We got some New Year's resolutions. I don't know what that is. Fight. Yeah, here we go. Renier the Ritter beat Ong Sang first round, submitted him to win the one championship middleweight belt. Huge shock on the night. A lot of people were stunned. Yeah, I mean, can you argue with that, Chris? He shut everyone the hell up, didn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think he is about fight of the year. It's really hard to separate this year really for a fight of the year, because particularly in one championship, because of the large break, it's really been hard for anyone to fight more than 2 fights this year. Fortunately, was lucky enough to fight before the shutdown after the first 5 events, and then to come back towards the end of the year, and it is well and truly deserved to one of the nicest guys in the sport. Love every time I see him interviewed on any YouTube, not just SCMP MMA or JHK. Truly great character, a top fighter, an undefeated record. Whenever you get a fighter like that, it does blow up one championship. It shows how it's getting more international, having a European championship, and not to have a blemish on his record. It really lays down the marker if he wants to come and get him next year.
John, have you got any other names for this, or do we agree Renier the Ritter is the man of 2020?
There could be a few other names, but it goes back to what Chris was saying, that not many fighters fought more than once this year. You know what I mean? In one championship. It's just unforeseen circumstances. So
And you gotta say as well, Renier beat Leandro Atides, and that was a scary opponent for him. And the guy's a
this year he
beast.
did?
I think so. Yeah, it was early 2020 in
Okay.
Jakarta.
Okay.
Is that right,
So
Chris? Am I wrong? I'm gonna double
Yeah,
check.
I think so.
all right, so if you put if you factor that in, then yeah, of course, the Ritter is the fighter of the year because he went from that fight, who was a dangerous opponent, and probably his hardest stylistic matchup, and he beat that guy, and he goes into the title fight
Yeah,
and then chokes
February
out.
7th, Warriors Code. I
Okay,
think that was in Jakarta, Indonesia.
and then he goes into this fight
yeah.
against Ung, which a lot of people didn't give him much of a chance, and he goes in there and finishes him in the first round, and pretty easily. So yeah, fighter of the year is hard to argue. You could, he kind of ticks off the boxes. He won 2 fights. The first fight was a dangerous one, earned the title shot, went into the title fight, and even won the title more impressively. So yeah, fighter of the year. It's hard to argue, man, to be honest with you.
All right. Any other? I think those are all the awards they have. Have we got any other categories we can think of ourselves?
What about submission of the year? What do you think submission of the year?
Apparently, the submission of the year was the Ritter against Ong La.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what I
Are they?
saw.
All right, let me check out their website. Bear with me.
Yeah, I
What's
don't
it called?
I don't think they post anything about, like, you got submission of the year. That's an award you could, you could say maybe a prospect of the year. Who are like the big prospects? And I guess you could put prospect of the year as like Ritu.
Yeah, that would be
Don't you think
Ritu.
so?
Yeah, I think we have to give a special dedication to Rodlek for defending his belt twice this year.
Oh yeah.
No one else really did that in the organization I can think of. As well, I know she only fought once. Janet Todd, for how long her career's been, how amazing it's been. Some of the losses, the ups and downs. It's really good to see her get the strap back on her.
Well, they
Gary
haven't
Paul
got
win. I
their
mean,
website. So
on
bad.
Sunday,
Sorry.
if you were doing a comeback of the year, you can even say Lonan Tananis just for making it back in the ring, despite his, I thought, slightly wishy-washy performance. I mean, after everything he's been through, just to get back in the ring, to me, was a win.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What
He's
about this?
he's still a dangerous guy. The top 5. And yeah, here we go.
Top 5 MMA fighters of 2020. Who they got? The Ritter,
Yeah.
Right,
Tan Lee,
of course.
Denise Zamboanga.
Did she?
I think she did well against Mei Yamaguchi, but the second fight she had was just, I think the level of opposition was pretty
Oh
low.
yeah, it was just, that was like a drop off. That was like, like 100, and then she went to a 10, which is not so good.
Yeah, but we can't take anything away from Denise's
No,
MMA. That
no,
was
she's one of the best in the division, no doubt.
no doubt. Christian Lee, yeah, I think that's warranted. A lot of people again doubted Christian Lee. Did the business against Yuri Lepkus. Ritu Fogat, why not? Yes.
Prospect of the year, but I don't know if she's like fighter of the year though. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'd get John Lineker in there for what he did.
John Lineker is probably up there.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of Christian Lee, let's go to Angela Lee's Instagram and check out her. The gym got vandalized by somebody. They look like they were on like PCP or something crazy. I think they threw a machete through the windows.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I think it's machete. If you go to her Instagram, she has photos of everything. So
let's see what their top 5 fights. I'll get to that in 1 second. The one's top 5 fights: Tan Levy, Martin Nguyen, as you guys were saying, Zhong Jingnan, Tiffany Teo, Christian Levy, Yuri Lepkus. Not so sure about that. What the hell? It was like half a round. I don't know what's going on there. Josh Pastor, Alex Silva, like Chris was saying, and Cameron Abasov, James Nakashima. Yes.
Oh yeah, that was we forgot about that one. That was a real good fight.
Yeah. If I'm correct, Nakashima, I had them pretty much winning the fight, and Abasov pulled it out of the bag. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, we
also,
also have John's exclusive that James Nakashima is moving down to fight.
Oh wow.
and then Abasov has just recently signed
yeah,
with what
yeah,
is it, Dominus MMA, so that
yeah.
kind of opens up what his next move is. Is he still staying with one championship, or is he gonna go sign somewhere else? Very interested to see what happens with that.
Because we've got apparently, isn't it? What are they called? Unbreakable, isn't that Aoki versus Nakashima?
Yeah, let's go to Tapology. I think Tapology has some of the matchups that one
Yeah.
championship doesn't put up officially.
Apparently, Aoki Nakashima, Kazakhstan, Magomedov, and then obviously February 24th. That's the big one.
I'll quickly look at the breakthrough fighters. 2020, Michael Owens. He watches the channel.
Oh wow.
Comment. Thanks,
Oh,
Michael.
Michael Owens writes for one championship.
I did not know that, but I've just seen
Wow.
it here.
Shout out to
That's
Michael
cool.
Owens.
Shout out, yeah. He picked Alicia Rodriguez #1. I don't know if he's picked these. He's just written the article, but this is breakthrough fighter. Denise Sambalonga. I guess so. The May Yamaguchi thing. A big win. Ritu Fogat, like John was saying.
Are there no males in the breakthrough fight?
Oh yeah. Won the girl fit.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Y2K.
Y2K, yep.
Yeah, Y2K, man. He's had some good fights this year.
The only issue I would have with this list is actually, particularly towards the end of the year, we did keep getting all these guys from China coming over and starching people early on the card.
Yeah.
Was it Fang Wei? And there was quite a few really, really good up and coming Chinese fighters really starting to get themselves known in one championship, which is kind of what we need if we want to really blow up this organization.
Yeah, but I don't feel like that I don't feel like we know any of the Chinese fighters. They're just kind of like fillers.
Yeah.
It seems like, and hopefully maybe in 2021 they're gonna push some of the other Chinese fighters and not just the Panda. Or maybe we'll get some other ones in there. Mengbo, of course, she's there, but some of these males, man, there's a lot of men that are coming over. So we'll see.
Shea Wei beat Chan Rafana. That was a great one. Chen Rui beat Ali Matamed. Some really, really good talent coming through.
Look, here's the video. Angela Lee, she posted, I think it was on Sunday or Monday, that, her United BJJ Hawaiian gym. There's this dude just throwing what looks like a machete at the windows to the door. He's got no shirt on. I do not know what is going on there. Why would you do this? You see the damage here?
No, we can't see it.
You cannot see it?
No, it's not on the screen.
Oh, it's just Chris's
the
face.
viewers can't see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta redo that. I forgot. Let's rewind that then. Okay.
Rewind.
Just left Chris's beautiful face up there.
Oh, no problem.
All right, and then he's yelling some stuff too, right?
Here you go. I haven't got the audio on, but do we want to hear
that? Yeah, so.
This guy's just screaming and smashing shit up. You see the damage here. The door is broken, and then the window's smashed, and there's this
machete.
Is that a machete? I don't know.
That's a machete. I used to have a machete as a kid.
Okay. So. I need to update my news story because I wrote it was a wooden item. It looks wooden. Okay.
Does it? Maybe I'm wrong.
To me,
I don't know anything about knives. Okay. Yeah, poor Angela, man. That is tough. Angela's obviously pregnant, and that's not a good way to start the year. Let's see what she said. We got the comments on there, haven't we? 1 second, guys.
They said they will open the gym back again on the 4th. They had people coming on the 2nd to fix everything. I think it should all be okay. I'm just going to assume the guy was on drugs and assume it wasn't any darker motivations. We don't know what
he got
obviously
in J class or something, and he was mad.
The guy's obviously committed the crime here, and I hope he's brought to justice. But I mean, the no shoes, no top on look, it does truly scream of someone who probably needs a little bit of help too. So hopefully they can bring him to justice, but also get him the help that he needs. And I hope it wasn't like in any way other darker motivations behind it, whether they be racial or discriminatory or xenophobic or whatnot.
Was he a member of the gym?
Don't know. I have asked to get. We're going to try and get Angela on to do an interview. We'll get maybe she's got some more information for us, and we can have a general catch up with her because we haven't spoken to Angela for a while. She's due to give birth in 2-3 months now, I think. Maybe she can tell us what's going on with this Grand Prix.
Well, I think it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? They're gonna file a police. I think they already filed a police report. They're gonna find the guy. It's an island, so it's not like he's gonna swim somewhere and we're not gonna be able to find him. You know what I mean? Like he's clearly, you can see who it is. So they're gonna find the kid, arrest him, charge him, punish him, and they're gonna clean it up. I feel like the glass is the biggest concern, right? Because the small pieces of glass and you're on a mat with no shoes on, and it's just barefoot, that could be a danger, but they need to clean all of that out. It's just a big inconvenience, and I don't think it's a major deal. Moving forward for the gym, for the whole family. You know, I mean, their family's huge. You know, if that guy came around again, you know, I mean, like they'd probably choke him or something. I don't know. Maybe they should invite him to the gym and teach him, you know, like self-defense.
Have you seen Ken? You don't want to miss Ken. He's huge. The dad.
Yeah.
The dad. What a guy. All right. So I'm going on the Tapology now, and
let's check out the first couple of cards if they do have anything for one championship, and then we'll go to we'll finish off with Ryzen, I guess, because they're gonna have some big cards coming up too.
Well, I will first preface this with what I think I know or have heard. I had heard that Stamp Fairtex was going to fight on this January 2022 card, but that may not be certain. And then also that we might get the Passion Joshua Pasio defending his title. Let's
on the
see
22nd.
All right. Yeah, as John's exclusive report said, Shinya Aoki versus James Nakashima. Boom. That John set up
problem.
Japanese
MMA. But the problem with this is that we don't know if which one is going to be recorded and which one is going to be live. That's the problem.
If it's the first show, I imagine this one's live.
Okay, so all of these are going to be live. Is Buchecha supposed to be on this card too?
If that fight is real, yeah, he was slated for.
It's supposed to be the Adriana Moraes Demetrius Johnson card, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, February. Okay. Well, we've also got Sebastian Kadestam, former welterweight champion, against Raymond Magomedov again. Yeah, 7-1. That should be a fun card there. Hopefully, some more fights announced soon. Yes, as I did hear, Stamp Fairtex might be on there. Does that mean she's going to fight in the Atomweight Grand Prix? I doubt it, because I figured they would load up the card just with all the Grand Prix fights. So I expect Stamp's going to be fighting. She get a little tune-up MMA fight, maybe, after losing those belts. Have they got other cards announced?
We have
Alvarez versus Lapicus, right? They
said but that's not scheduled until April, I think.
What?
Yeah, it's really far away.
Why are they waiting that long for Alvarez to return?
Something must have gone wrong with the Eddie and Daggy fight. This is the February card with DJ and Adriana Moraes.
Do they got any other fights on there?
Buchecha and Omar Kane, yeah. Ringmark. There you go. Is that official? One told me it's not official. It's not confirmed, and that Mr. Kane is not actually on their roster or contracted them yet. So, but it was reported by Apache, so maybe it is true.
The only fight that is official by one is the Demetrius Johnson and Adriana Moraes fight, right? That's the only fight that is official.
John, you do a bit of work at Tapology. What's the criteria for adding a fight to a card on there? Is it just, can you go off a report, or has it got to be done?
I think they do go off reports, and then they do background checks on all the cards. But you see it in the UFC too, you know, like on UFC cards on Tapology. You know what I mean? It's not officially announced, but reports and also, accredited publications will announce the fights, you know what I mean, from sources, legit sources. And I feel like Tapology, they trust those sources, so they'll put up the fights. But the thing about this is that they could take it off anytime. These fights, they could just erase it from the list. So
Yeah.
I don't know exactly, you know what I mean? Like when I put up fights, I don't put up fights for like one championship or the UFC. I put up fights for regional promotions. So usually when fights are official for regional promotions, the regional promotions will just send me the list themselves. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm digging through information and going to gyms and talking with management. No, it's not like that. It's just so I don't know at the highest level.
Add something very, very quickly. If there's one thing, and it'll actually be a prediction for the next 3 years, but just a side note, talking about Stamp Fairtex, in all honesty, I think every time you see Stamp Fairtex on a card that is not in Thailand for the next 3 years, she will be fighting MMA. I don't think we'll see her ever fight Muay Thai or kickboxing for one championship in the next 2 or 3 years outside of Thailand for one championship. I think she's going to put everything into MMA. And I would just be surprised. I think we'll only see her do kickboxing or Muay Thai back in Thailand in order to keep her relevant and keep her popularity high in her home country.
That she told me as much, I think, the last time I spoke to her a few months ago. So I cannot see that not being the case. Yes. What about that, John? We were going to do a little bit of Rising Tokyo Dome matchups, maybe. What do we think that card is going to look like?
I don't know. What Drake was saying, he's like, there's going to be a show before that, and it doesn't seem like there will be. So I think they're going to go right into 2021 with this huge card at the Tokyo Dome. I don't think what is it? I don't even think what is it that they haven't been to Tokyo Dome in like some 20 something years or something like that. So they're going to be doing a big show. Maybe it's the what is it? They're going to try to do Horiguchi, Tenshin. Everybody's like talking about Tenshin and what is it? And not what is it? Takuru and what is it? Archuleta and Horiguchi, and there, like there's all these matchups, right? And also, but who knows if Archuleta is going to be able to go to Japan and fight over there. So most likely Horiguchi could fight somebody that's a contender. There's a lot of matchups, right? There's a lot of a lot of contenders and good matchups that you can put together on that card. So I feel like this card is going to be big, but I don't know if there's going to be many foreigners on it. When foreigners go over there, they have to do 2-week quarantine. So by March, will that be gone? Will the vaccine be running through Japan and they'll be able to just bring in guys? I don't know. There's a lot of questions.
I don't think we'll see Tenshin fight either. Tenshin's scheduled to fight February 28th at Rise El Dorado in Yokohama. So I don't know if he'll want to do a 4-week turnaround. He may well do it because we have seen it from Tenshin. He's 22, 23, and he's had 40 fights. So he's super active. But I would just be very surprised if he wanted to ever go in against Takeru 28 days after another fight against probably his biggest rival, and to probably go down as right now currently the best and most popular kickboxer in Japan. It would seem slightly odd that he doesn't give himself at least 8 or 12 weeks between events.
Well, yeah, I think, Chris, if you need to head off, you can. I know you were. Otherwise, we can talk a little bit more about Ryzen. Feel free to stay.
Ryzen.
Okay. What else have we got then? We'll do another few minutes. Yeah, quickly. We'll just round out the Ryzen chat. Yeah, how is this? Do you think this will even go ahead now because of the pandemic? It looks like that Japan is the cases are surging, especially in Tokyo, and they're going to shut everything down because they've got the Olympics to think about a little bit down the line. So I think they want to get it all in good order now. Is it worth doing the Tokyo Dome if you can't get fans in there?
It probably isn't if you can't get fans in. The only advantage you would have with the Tokyo Dome is if they do want to put up social distance parameters, they can probably get a much bigger crowd than if they use a smaller stadium. If they do want to spread people out, to go back to the Tenshin Takeru talk, when Sakakibara said very, very recently, I think, that he wants it to be the week before the Olympics. It's like a curtain raiser to the Olympics when all the eyes are on Japan. Yeah, I do not know if we will see it in the Tokyo Dome, but I think Ryzen will plod on. MMA in Japan has been largely unaffected. Pancrase, Shuto, I don't think any of them took more than 6 weeks off, 2 months during the pandemic anyway. They've been very good with having fans, very good with social distancing. Obviously, they don't have some of the problems they do have in America. Yeah, I think
I just watched, as I said at the beginning of the show, NJPW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom, and they were about 90% of their normal capacity. They normally do like 40,000 there at least, I think. So the tens of thousands of people were there, and this was amazing because they all, everyone was masked up, but they only clapped. They were not allowed to cheer, and they all stuck to that religiously. No one cheered throughout the whole show, even though there was a bunch of amazing matches. And because the theory is if you cheer, you're projecting the virus into the air and all that. It was so crazy to see these people stick to this because that could never happen in America or many other countries. It's just awesome to see. But yeah, maybe this is how Japan's going to keep doing events. But I've never seen anything like that, especially with wrestling. Because wrestling gets the emotions going, doesn't it, Chris? You get out of your chair, you want to cheer, you want to boo.
yes, 100%.
Well,
Yeah.
no matter what, if Rising continues with their shows in Japan, in Tokyo, or the surrounding areas with limited fans and just growing the Japanese market without foreigners coming in, I think that was going to work out for them no matter what. And whatever matchups that they put together, I think it grows them domestically and actually allows them to kind of grow their product internationally, their Japanese fighters internationally with these cards. Because, like you said, there's not many cards that are being thrown around the world. And one championship, as well. One championship, they're going to have their shows in Singapore. They're going to continue marching forward with those, and it's going to help them grow their roster. And man, it's good. It's good for them. If they're limited to that and they find a way to adjust and continue and compete and have these fighters come into the country, fight, go home, put on shows, what can we say? We can't say anything. We just cover the events and allow these promotions, these organizations to march forward until they're allowed to go to other countries, put on shows, have live audiences. It's going to be good. I feel like right now these organizations are in a good time where they found their kind of their spot. They could their sweet spot for themselves and just continue with that until everything gets somewhat back to normal. And then boom, they could open the doors, the floodgates, and allow themselves to blast forward with momentum. But other than that, we have nothing else to say.
Yeah. Can I just throw something really quick out there? That's really shocked me actually. It's still we've had some of these fighters all released from the UFC. We've had some go over to Bellator. We've had quite a lot actually go over to the PFL. We still haven't really seen anyone move over to Rise the One Championship yet. But I would not be surprised if in the coming month we hear of one or two names to both organizations.
When did these UFC cuts materialize yet? I haven't
Fair few of them have happened, but it's just been mostly lower level guys and them releasing some. Ostovich has said she's going to release her big news this week, which most likely will be a knuckle, unfortunately, but there should be a few announcements we will come across.
Well, we know they tried to get Anthony Pettis through Ben Askren. Anthony told me that in our interview. Just want to say it's been a great week for interviews as well on SCMP MMA. I've got to tip my hat to you, John. You brought in Yuri Prochazka, Alex Volkanovski, the featherweight champ. We did Daniel Cormier together. You've got Manel Cape coming up. It's been a bumper week. Tom Taylor, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. What was that, Chris?
Shane Burgos as well.
Yeah, it's been an awesome week. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, Chris, can you just tell them what to do?
Hey guys, we are SCMP MMA. Like and subscribe for all the best MMA content you can get. We're right here almost every day. John HK, the king of interviews, the one and only. Every day, Brian Campbell, we don't even know who he is anymore. John beat him. He knocked him out. TKO head kick, He did what I thought was going to happen to Christian Lee. He finished Brian Campbell's career. So there we go. One of the best interviews. John Hong Ho, the fastest mouth in the East.
Damn, that doesn't sound good. That sounds like an intro to a porno or something.
Damn it.
I appreciate it though. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. We just try to grow. Chris is part of the family. You know what I mean? And I love having him abroad, and we're just trying to grow, man. And it's just the start. We haven't had our full calendar year yet for our crew. You know what I mean? That we have assembled here at SCMP MMA. We haven't. When did we start? We started what, middle of last year? And
249. Yeah, we did a recap on the Gaethje Ferguson, I think, and that was the big.
Man. We haven't even had a full calendar year, and look where we're at. So it's just uphill from this point on, man. We're just trying to climb. And the people that are always watching, I really appreciate you guys coming on and following along. We're trying to improve ourselves. I'm trying to improve myself to be able to express how I feel and what's in this noggin in the best way possible. And I'm still working on that. But yeah, interview wise, I'm improving on that myself and trying to get the biggest, the best names and the most interesting people. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, 2021, man, hopefully we get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I feel like that's our goal. And if we could do that, we accomplish a lot.
For 2021. Just to get that number. Yeah, let's do it. All right, why don't we wrap it up there? I will move myself into the middle for a goodbye. Yes, Eddie the Blasian, thank you so much. We, as John said, love having you guys watch and leaving comments. We'll try and do more of these as soon as we can and when we got time. We just want to grow everything, like John said, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and we'll see you all again next time. I don't know when next time will be. John,
like
Chris,
and subscribe if you love MMA. Like and subscribe if you love MMA.
That's it. That's the message. We got plenty more big news coming soon. I'm sure we'll be back later this week with another show. Yeah, thank you so much again.